Let me introduce to you my wonderful friend and client, Natali. She has been a good friend to me for many years, and this was one of the reasons why she first was doubtful of coming to me, but I'll let her tell you a bit more about that. She is an incredible human. She's the mother of two beautiful girls, four fur babies, married for 23 years. Applause, applause. And so today she has agreed to do a testimonial for me. Thank you very much, Natali, and welcome.
Thank you, Nadia, and thank you for such a nice introduction, and it's my pleasure to be here.
Thank you. So, Natali, take us through a little bit of how you came to booking a hypnotherapy session with me and what was going on in your life that led you to make that choice.
Okay, so I've been through a pretty rough, starting with a lot of emotional stuff that was going on. It started 2 years ago when I started having a lot of questions about, like, who am I? Why am I here? What's going on with me? Like an existential crisis, you know. I was starting to go through perimenopause. So I was starting to have that feeling of youth is behind me. What is there to look forward to? My children are a little bit bigger. I was going through all of these things. And my husband, my lovely Andre, was, you know, he was bodybuilding and he was starting to get to, you know, change his life so much. And I felt essentially left behind. And this put me on a track to starting to find myself. And I started doing a lot of work. So I was on a, you know, starting to be on a really good trajectory. You know, I had done amazing work.
Yeah.
I had this terrible accident. Okay. And this accident was life-changing. I mean, I nearly lost my life. And in some ways, it was very bonding for Andre and I, but it also put me completely off kilter with my job, physically. You know, it really, it put me off my own track. You know, when I was going this way, now all of a sudden, you know, I couldn't be in the gym anymore because physically my body, I mean, I lost a tremendous amount of weight. I was weak. And, you know, so I was just in this really bad space. Anyway, you know, so I had to work really hard again to get myself out of this negative spiral that I had worked quite hard at this point to get out of. Then Andre broke his ankle and I had to get into this like role again. You know, I barely was out of my own physical trauma when I had to then be available to him. And once again, being in that place of doing so much for other people and not being able to sort myself out. Anyway, so I, you know, was still having this lot of negative spirals, a lot of internal dialogue that, you know, who am I? Why am I here? I'm a failure. I'm not good enough. All of this stuff kept going through my head, despite all the work that I had done.
Yes, please do go on. Tell us a little bit about the things that you have done before this point to try and come out of that feeling of being stuck. And also, I know that you had another very big challenging event, which was the loss of your darling mother.
Yes. So I had my accident in September, and then unfortunately I had a relapse on my intestines. My intestines twisted again, and so I landed up in the hospital again. This was in July. I had going through that whole physical thing again, and unfortunately 2 weeks after that my mother died. So it was just one thing after the next. But to go back to your question, I have done cognitive therapy because I had a lot of trauma as well as a child. You know, a lot of crazy things happened to me. You know, wild stuff. I could write a book about it. So I had done the traditional cognitive therapy. I had done workshops, many workshops, which were very helpful. But I still kept going back to this place, you know, of like, I'm not good enough. I'm a failure. So then my mother died in July, and I just started having an existential crisis. How much time have I got left to achieve what I need to achieve? And I was in this really negative spiral, and it was affecting all my relationships. And it was affecting my marriage the most, My husband was just doing his best and being his best self. And because of my own insecurities, I was really struggling with that. I felt like leaving me behind.
Things that you said to me after the session was that you felt a little bit almost deflated or let down by it because you were expecting this fizz, this excitement, the bubbles that you get from doing courses or workshops. And I said to you in that moment, wait, Natali, it's in retrospect that you're going to see the benefit of this. How do you feel about that now?
So talking about the workshops, because I've done so much work on myself, I knew what my issues were. I knew that the core of my problem was that I suffer from abandonment issues. And that I've discovered through the workshops and the journeys and the processes that I've done before. So it's all good and well. You know what your issue is and you know it's your stuff.
Yes.
But I still wasn't getting to like, okay, I know what I'm dealing with, but how do I use this? How do I integrate this? How do I get past just knowing what I know?
And it's almost like, having done all the courses as you have and having all of that knowledge, it's almost a burden of knowledge. You have this weight, you have this, you've discovered it, you've done all the work, as you say, you felt all that excitement and felt it go down and then start again. And so life continues. But what is so different and so special about this is that it is like a whole reset button on your life. It's not that we are erasing the past, that would be terrible. It's that we are kind of just eliminating the pulleys that it has on your life now. So you're able to remember, but you kind of feel divorced from the negative impact that it has on you. So could you explain to us how different it was, and was it a permanent change? How are you feeling now that you feel, what is the feeling?
Yeah, so as you say, straight afterwards, I absolutely loved the sessions. I loved it. I loved doing it. I loved everything about it and it felt amazing. But then afterwards, I didn't have that high that you have when you come off a workshop. But I think I did feel that something had shifted, but I couldn't put my finger on it. And I started seeing as the days progressed and now the weeks and the months, that there was a significant change, because I could see how I was reacting to things differently, how I was responding to things differently, and how I was feeling differently about things. One thing is holding you back. And when you can pinpoint and get down to the crux of that, it's amazing how it filters into everything else in your life.
And that's the beauty of RTT. It's a rapid transformation, but it's also, the difference is all of these other modalities, we are working with a conscious mind. Hyping ourselves up and trying to convince and manipulate ourselves to feel better, to act better, to take better responsibility. But when you go into subconscious and you open up that critical thinking and you allow yourself to rearrange what's in there, those core beliefs then get shifted into I am enough, I am valuable. And now the rose-tinted glasses almost seem to go on, and absolutely everything. You still have the same issues when you're finished with the session, but you have a very different perspective. And when you change the way you look at things, the way you look at the things you look at then change. How many sessions have you had with me, Natali?
I've had one.
You've had one. You said something about reconnecting with yourself on a positive. Tell me a little bit about that.
Okay, so, we tend to focus so much on our, the negative things that have happened in our lives and our trauma. And yes, we all grow from, the difficult things, and those things are important. But what I loved about doing hypnotherapy was that you connected me with parts of joy in me. You made me remember some amazing events in my life. It wasn't all about connecting with the bad things. There were really, it actually sparked something inside me that I'd forgotten that I have. And I'll actually elaborate. The joy that you took me back into was remembering how much I love to dance. And that was because you took me into an amazing memory that I forgot that I had. And it was just so wonderful. Even if I just got that one little thing out of everything, would have been such a gift to remember something so special from our childhood that I love to dance.
Particularly for you, Natali, is that you said to me that you have very few memories from your childhood. So not only did you find a beautiful a memory from your childhood, which was already very enlightening, you were tiny, but it was such a beautiful memory about you dancing for your grandparents. Was it? That was right, eh?
Yes.
And I love that. I mean, your face just shone and you just really found that connection. I love to dance, Nadia. I forgot I love to dance.
Yes.
Just stunning.
And I wasn't a dancer as a child. I didn't do ballet or anything like that. So it wasn't that kind of memory.
No.
It was honestly a memory of me dancing at 5 years old, dancing for my grandparents. I was doing ballet. I wasn't a ballerina. I was doing ballet to Buramisik.
Oh, that's too fabulous.
They were ooh and ah to remembering something that gives me joy.
And Natali, that's so important. At our sort of stage in our lives, as mothers specifically, it's all about the children's extracurricular. It's all about our husbands' careers and about, making a beautiful home and doing all the things that you do wake up and you go, what about me? Who am I in this world? And just connecting you back to that opened a whole sort of positivity Pandora's box where you're like, I love it. It's not Andre or the girls. I love it. If I could just wrap it up and ask you, who would you say would benefit the most from this kind of therapy, Natali?
Well, I think definitely moms my age, women that are going through that their children are growing up, they don't know who they are anymore because they've focused so much on their kids for so long. Women that are going through the change. I think teenagers, because they're going through their own change. Anybody and everybody, Nadia, men, everyone's got stuff that's going on deep inside of them that they don't understand, which will be amazing.
Nat. And I'm going to just press you on this. There was two relationships specifically that were very difficult for you at the time. One was the relationship with your husband. How is that now?
Very good. Very, 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 very good. No, we were going through some difficulties, when you've been married for so long. And you're not always in the same place, and I was feeling left behind. And I don't feel that anymore because my core issue, which was abandonment, has been addressed. And I now know that I'm not being abandoned. No one's abandoned me. And we're back to being a power couple. We're just having fun again. And, we're doing amazing. Really, I couldn't be happier with him.
And then, of course, the second relationship I'm referring to is the relationship with yourself. What is the difference in you? You wake up in the morning and you feel, how do you feel now?
Well, Nadia, I feel like I'm more connected to myself. I feel like I have a better understanding of myself, and I'm definitely not feeling that I'm not good enough. I don't want to go into why I'm saying this because I'm still working on this, but I've actually taken on a new project, which I would never have done before. I would have never thought, I wouldn't have had the guts to do it. I wouldn't have thought I'm good enough for it. I've just said, universe, yes, I'm doing this. And I don't think I would have done this if I hadn't had this feeling that I have now, that I just, and you've just left me with the gift of just feeling powerful, feeling strong, feeling brave, feeling courageous, feeling like I can do so much, and I'm busy with a project right now that I don't want to say too much about, but I mean, it's simply because my mind has been shifted.
We will watch this space, and this is 3 months after the first session. So I can only imagine what this new trajectory is. The stars, the sky is the limit, or actually it's not the limit because there isn't one. So I believe in you. I love you. And I think, to see you come alive again is worth it. It's worth it to watch this. Thank you for sharing your time with me, and thank you for sharing this lovely testimonial.
Thank you.